As we get closer and closer to the election, we can see the tide turning, pointing more toward the Democrats and Kamala Harris. And that's great to hear, but doesn't it surprise you it's taken this long? With the crazy shit that Donald Trump and the Republicans are trying to pull, why is it just now people are realizing that, hey, maybe there's a better option? Well, Kamala and Tim Walz might be part of it, but the other part of it is this. We have a media that doesn't give us all the information, sometimes lies to us, or just omits certain things and don't tell us what we need to know. It's an interesting trend going on at the Democratic National Convention. There was a lot of sway given to influencers, people on social media. And when it was all said and done, the DNC realized that they got an untold amount of promotion and advertising for dealing with the social media folks as opposed to the legacy media. That's interesting. That's an interesting thing. Here's the problem with legacy media. It's owned by wealthy people, and they dictate what goes on and how it's said and what's delivered. People are finally figuring out they're tired of that shit. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to listen to that shit. So they're turning to social media, and thank God for that. I bring this up because we do what we can here on TikTok, giving you the information, the unfettered information, the best we can. But there are time limitations on TikTok. So that's why I want to encourage you to check out the Rational Boomer podcast. You probably check out other podcasts, and I don't blame you. But please check out the Rational Boomer podcast. The things we talk about here on TikTok, we can expand on the podcast. It's about an hour and a half long. And it's not just about me pontificating here. I have a lot of guests, a lot of very smart guests. Like on today's show, I have an old friend of mine. His name is Ed. I've known this guy for 30 years, worked with him on the air for 26, 27 years. We've worked together for a long time, and we work well together. But this guy is way smarter than I am, and that's the key to having a good podcast. Always get people smarter than you. He knows about history, he knows about politics, he knows about the military, and it's always a great show. I would encourage you to check out the Rational Boomer podcast. All you have to do is go to YouTube, and there's the video version of the podcast. There's also a link in my profile to that podcast. Go to Spotify. Go to Spotify, search Rational Boomer, and you will find the podcast. I encourage you to check it out. We're a growing audience every day, and I'm glad to see that. And it's nice to know that people will be better informed going into this election, because we're going to kick the Republicans' ass. But we've got to educate people. We've got to let people know about things that the media should have let them know about, but hasn't. So look at social media. Look at the Rational Boomer podcast, and please check it out.